Okay, YouTube says I'm live at least. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't gone live in quite a while now. Hello, everybody. That is if you can hear me. I guess if you can hear me, it's kind of a moot question, but like, I guess if you can hear me, like, say something in the chat. I don't know. Yeah, today we're just gonna do some art. I still don't know if we're live because it's been a while since I did this, so not sure. But in any case, I guess we'll just start. This is a little sketchbook that I was using for essentially like when I was going to Japan. Oh, you can hear. Awesome. Hello, Astulio? Is that how you say your name? Astulio1? Yeah, so this is like a little sketchbook that I was bringing to Japan with me to draw. And I only drew a little bit in it, actually, and not that much. It was a little travel journal of sorts, right? So this is like the luggage, and, you know, this was me drawing while inside I believe the taxi that was taking us to the airport. And then this was in the airplane. And then afterwards, I didn't get much chance to draw. I met up with a lot of friends there. This was like, 24. Wait, what the hell? So it was like last year. Oh man. Okay. I thought it was last year for some reason. But yeah. I met up with some friends. I remember that this was drawn in, a lot of them are game developers, so actually I shouldn't give away any more information than that. But yeah. I was doing some drawing. This was before we went to I believe we were going to an izakaya. But then I didn't get to finish the drawing. This was just some random people I saw on the street. This was me drawing in a park. I didn't finish this one either. This was also not finished. You can see a pattern starting to emerge here. But then I was like, well, I'm using this for a travel journal, so might as well also use it for, like, you know, dungeon travel journal stuff. Like if I have something interesting happen in an adventure in like a game that I'm playing, then I could just log it. So I started drawing in that. And you can see all sorts of stuff. This is from Cave Evil, more of a board game, but you know. Yeah, a bunch of extra stuff here. This was a drawing from when I was going out, I think in the morning, just on my morning walk, I decided to sketch. And this was from, so this is what I wanted to talk about. I started getting into watercolor a bit more recently. So I haven't done watercolors, well, since this really, so like since like 2024. And I kind of like am not really that used to it anymore. So watercolors was the first thing that I learned how to use for like painting and stuff like that. But I found it really soothing. So yeah, recently I've been having a lot of health issues, as you guys probably know about. Maybe I don't know if you know about it actually. So health issue wise, I've been having the worst health crisis that I've had in, say, 5 years or so. So I'm now starting to recover a little bit, and that's why I've started trying to find ways of essentially decompressing at night, trying to figure out how to relax at night, trying to figure out how to, you know, just feel normal at night, because I get very anxious at night quite a bit. So what I've experimented with, I've tried a few different things, but what seems to help a lot is chamomile tea. That's one of the things. But another thing that seems to help out is some kind of activity that I'm doing while I'm, you know, drinking my tea and trying to wind down for the day. So two things. First thing was miniature painting. So miniature painting wise, I've gotten a lot painted up. Let me see if I can find one to show actually. Oh yeah, here you go. So there's this I don't, wait, actually I should turn on the light on the camera. There we go. Okay, that should be turned on. So you should be able to see that. It's like a lard cube is made, so this was sculpted by Tanner Simpson, who is a friend of mine that I met, I think, a few months ago. Yeah, he sculpts these amazing miniatures, and this one was a resin cast, I believe. Resin casted by Ramshackle Games, Curtis from Ramshackle Games. So there's a little butthole on the back here as well. It is freaky, yeah. Like if you look at it, there's like eyes that I dotted in, but I've painted up less freaky stuff. Let me see if I can find any. Yeah, so I've also been like kid bashing some stuff, so can kind of see that. I think this is like a War Games Atlantic guard or something. Yeah, this is just what I have on my desk next to me. But I've been painting quite a bit, you know, just to like relax and stuff like that. But I've been trying to find another hobby because sometimes I don't feel like doing miniature painting and stuff like that, right? And that's where watercolors come in because it's got this really tactile, interesting kind of sensation to it that kind of like soothes my soul a little bit. And what I found to be quite, I don't know, like nice, I guess, is that I've been trying to do this thing where I listen to a song and I try to encapsulate the song within the medium that I'm using. So in this case, watercolors, right? So I've been doing that with digital art as well. I can't really show it right now because I'm, you know, at a desk, and the files are on the computer. But I've been trying to do a little bit of that here and there. I've been mainly doing it with this band called Health, which is a recent find for me. How do I even describe their genre? I guess it's like dark synth mixed with heavy metal, but also there's a lot of variety to their songs. They do a lot of collaborations, right? So some of it is very like more hard rock, and some of it is more synth. And like if they're teaming up with Perturbator, then their songs are gonna be more synth wave. If they're teaming up with say Filter, then it's gonna be a bit more rock. And I was thinking it would be kind of interesting if I kind of try to do the same process today. Listening to the song, I'm gonna give myself a time limit of like I'm gonna listen to the song 3 times, and during this time limit, I'm gonna try to get down an image based off the song. I don't know if this is gonna be hit by copyright. If it is, I'm just gonna take the copyright hit because I mean I have no idea. I don't know if this falls under free use or not, but they did do the Max Payne 3 soundtrack. Yeah, they did. Actually, I've been hanging out in the Discord, which seems to have a lot of nice people in it. So I think, yeah, we're gonna just try to do one of the songs. I've been listening to this particular song of theirs, which is a bit different from their regular soundtrack. It's called Free to Die. It's a collaboration with Filter. So the official music video for it is AMV, animated music video, with Ghost in the Shell visuals and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we'll listen to that. I'll give myself a limit of listening to it 3 times in a row, and then I'll try to essentially draw whatever I listen to on the paper. I have some reference imagery of like stuff that might be useful, like outside of the shot of the camera, but I might not use it at all. I have no idea what I'm actually gonna draw, so we'll figure it out. We'll see if it is a disaster or not. But let's just try. Let's just start, I guess. Also, hello, Lance. So we'll do. I guess we'll just do it on this page. Yeah, might as well just use this page. I think I'm gonna use ink, so I have like some ink pens and stuff. These are all water fast, which means that they will not be affected by watercolors. Now, if you're using a paint pen, like a Posca marker, this will get affected by watercolors, so be careful about that until it dries, that is. Then, you know, it's probably fine. If you're using something like this is a parallel pen from Pilot. This will have ink inside that's not water fast. It depends what kind of ink you're using. So like say, it will say on here, waterproof like ink or whatever, right? It will tell you for the most part. So we'll try that, see what happens. I actually don't know if the 3 times listening thing is a good time limit or not. We'll just see. Well, I don't think we should think too much about it. We'll just try it out. Let me put on my headphones and let's start the song, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna hit play in, oh my god, I can't even hear myself talk with this headphone on. Oh, this feels weird. Okay, I'm gonna start the song in 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you can hear that. I have no idea if you can. Oh, I should probably get started. Actually, don't know what I'm gonna draw at all. Okay, I think I have an idea where I'm going with this. Yeah, I guess we're starting off with inks first. I can't hear myself talk at all. It's so weird. Sorry if I'm not talking much while I'm doing this. I'm like concentrating. It's so weird not being able to hear my own voice while I'm like drawing. Let's do... I'll look at the messages right after I finish up this section, but okay, that was interesting. Let's see if there were any messages. Speaking of music, I've been learning drums, piano, Irish. Oh, I can't read that because YouTube has cropped it out. Irish drums, there you go. Bodhrán, an Irish tin whistle lately. Also saving up for an acoustic and electric guitar as well. Oh my god, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of new mediums to learn. That's really cool. I actually used to play the piano. Well, I used to a long time ago. I also did synth stuff for a while. I did like synthesizer stuff for a bit. I think I also I played the guitar for a very, very short period of time. Like very, very short. Like, I wouldn't even say that I knew pretty much even the basics. I did it only for a few months, essentially. Yeah, I've done a little bit, but not terribly much. But yeah, that was the first listen. I think this is kind of interesting. I do have like I said, some kind of like reference imagery off to the side, just so I can like figure out what like if I get stuck, which happened immediately, well, what I can draw that's already kind of like in tune with like that song. So I'm gonna make a few adjustments, and then we're gonna try to listen to it again. And this time I'm gonna try to um, kind of filter in a bit more of like the color of it. So I'm actually gonna be taking out the watercolors, and I'm gonna try to see whether I can kind of suss out the main kind of colors that I want to use for something like this. Um, Not sure. I think this can work though. I feel like this can kind of work. Um, let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a few adjustments before we do the second listen. I think that might be the best play actually. Instead of like listening and drawing 3 times in a row, just kind of like uh, just kind of adjusting it in between the listens. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Been totally neglecting drawing practice though, but I've started on some realism art prints. Interesting. So do you have like them in a grid and stuff like that? A 9 image project. Also, the song is sick. Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's quite different from the rest of Health's songs, in my opinion. It's kind of a bit more, I guess. I don't know any much about music. I guess like traditional rock kind of vibe. But yeah, I really like it quite a bit. Um, I think this is kind of an interesting composition. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the hands touching the face. I might want it either overlapping the face or away from the face. So I'm not quite sure on that part. But I think other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. So what I might do is I might introduce like some white paint in order to like get rid of that part there. But if I introduce the white paint now, it's going to affect the acrylics afterwards. So I'm at a bit of an impasse here. What can I do about this? What we could do is we could, yeah, I guess I could just like do it afterwards, like after the entire painting is done. Then I can because I have to wait for it to dry and I can't really do that on stream. So I think after the entire painting is done, I'll use like white paint to essentially paint out certain areas that I don't want to be there. And I'm also just gonna refine the expression a bit right now. Um, just like making sure that it's obvious that it's from a downwards perspective. Like you're just looking at him from the bottom up, you know? I've been thriving with the instruments, by the way, hopping between them has been really engaging, and I'll probably lock in into the tree I like the best. I think that's a good way of doing it. Like when you start doing a new hobby or a new creative endeavor or anything like that, you don't really know what you don't know, right? And that's always the scary part. I find that once you kind of know what your holes are, what your weaknesses are, or like what you are unaware of, at least, you can kind of like work to improve that. But until that point, it's kind of like you're kind of fumbling around in the dark. You know what I mean? Um, Speaking of fumbling around in the dark, maybe that's the play for this illustration actually. So I think that like me saying that kind of gave me an idea. Let me try something here. I got this brush pen is kind of a bit out of ink, so you can see that there's some like dry brush stuff that you can do with it. This would not work if it was full of ink, which will happen if I squeeze the barrel. So I think I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to try to do a bit of dry brushing and add a bit of texture in order to essentially like delete the area in between the hand and the face so that I can fix that mistake. Not mistake, but like that compositional mistake, I guess. So like something like this, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Like I kind of like that. At least to me right now, I kind of like how that looks. I might change my mind 10 minutes later. But yeah, let's do like something like that. maybe like there's some kind of like gas coming out there. Not gas, what, steam? Steam is the word for it. So I think, yeah, I think this will work, and then we can start doing the colors. But we'll do the colors once we listen to, as we're listening to the song for a second time, I think. I want to see if I can nail the vibe in terms of the colors. It'll probably be red, just because I kind of associate health with red, not just because of their merchandising and stuff, which is all red and black and white, but also because of the fact that their music, I feel like, tends towards either purple or red for me. Like I tend to kind of think of music in terms of colors for some reason. Like I guess because I'm such a visual person. The bodhran, the Irish drums have been harder to learn. It's folk instrument, very challenging. Find someone who knows how to play it. Yeah, that was it is kind of tough to, like, if you don't have a mentor in like a new kind of thing that you're trying out. It is always very difficult. Speaking of which, I never shared this story on anywhere other than, I guess I shared it on like Discord to like close friends, and I also shared it on Blue Sky, but I didn't really like make it a public thing. I had a surprise Christmas visit last year. It was very interesting. I don't think I've shared this, at least. I might have, but I maybe just forgot. It's a bit personal, but like I think it's worth going into. So a few years ago, I did a job for Make-A-Wish Foundation. I essentially used to do game development, right? So I did a job for them where I say job, but they offered to pay me and I refused the payment. Essentially is teaching a kid how to make video games, because she was having she had this like I won't go into details about what the disease was, but it was bad, obviously, because I Make-A-Wish, right? So I taught her for, I believe, 1 year or so. And on Christmas Day last year, I had somebody kind of like show up at my doorstep. And this was interesting because I didn't recognize the person at all, because it's been 6 years since I last saw her. It was like she was like 14. Now she's like 20, I think. Like it's been so long that I was like, who are you? Why are you in my house? And yeah, she was like, oh, you taught me like 6 years ago. And I was like, oh. And then we had a chat. We had a very in-depth chat about, she was doing really well. She kind of had taken my mentoring and stuff like that and taken it up to a new level. She's kind of like doing engine programming right now, and she's also like she's like working on a lot of like different things. And it was just very nice to see that, like being able to mentor somebody like that was able to make some kind of difference, I guess. I guess it's something like that, where I was in a weird spot in my life at that point where I was like, oh man, I don't know if what I'm doing, like anything I'm doing, actually makes any difference. And that kind of like gave me a reminder that some things here and there kind of do make a difference, like it's not like you're putting out nothing into the world. And it's like, yeah, it's a good reminder. Let's see. Sorry, I missed a lot of chats. Let's see. Yo, hello, Lonely Barrow. The art print series is 9 individual images that I plan to do in a realistic style. I plan to draw an Irish grey wolf, a golden eagle, swan, seal, Irish red squirrel, Irish bee, and I forget the last. That's a lot of stuff. This one is for, let's see. Okay, you're gonna sell it off. Okay, cool. So it's like for money. Interesting. Okay, but like you're commissioned for it, or like what? That's sweet of you. My internet might be dying. Yeah. It was a really cool kind of thing. At least for me, it was a very good opportunity. Anyway, I thought I should mention that because I'm like having a mentor, I think helped, like it does a lot, right? It kind of like helps you a lot. The reason I took on the job in the first place was because she kind of like reminded me of myself as a kid without any kind of guidance, right? So I mostly learned programming on my own by going to the library and reading books. Essentially, that's how I did it. I wasn't allowed to use the computer too much. So the way I learned typing was I would draw the whole keyboard on a piece of paper and I would touch type that way on like a piece of paper in between lessons. Stuff like that. So I learned PHP and MySQL. I remember I learned through books at the time. Yeah, so I remember like that being the case, and I remember also that I had a lot of difficulty doing it. So in essence, I was like, this is my chance to help out somebody who, well, firstly, we didn't know at the time how lethal the illness was gonna be, but it seemed to be stabilizing, and thankfully, it has stabilized, right? So that's really good. And so that's awesome. But yeah, I was like, I really want to help out this person, right? Like, yeah, I think like that kind of guidance, that kind of like mentoring is really important in any creative endeavor, like any kind of creative field, in like RPGs and like drawing, programming, anything that is like fundamentally creative in nature. I guess programming, it wouldn't normally think of it as creative, but I do, at least. Like once you get past a certain part, like the fundamentals, and start thinking in terms of like programming patterns, you start making a lot of creative decisions, I feel like. It's just that, you can take it in different ways. There's like creative programming where people use processing or P5 to do crazy things, and all of that is it's art, right? It's like it's really cool. I'm not referring to like I'm not going to go into the topic of it, but I'm not referring to, of course, like AI generated imagery. That's not something I personally consider to be art. But that's it's just me. Anyway, yeah, it is a wild story. It's just something that kind of like hit me with kind of a wake up call, I guess, because at the time I was kind of adopting myself a little bit. And I guess I still am. Like I'm still, I guess I'm constantly adopting myself, right? So it was kind of a good reminder that hey, and I think this is like something that might be useful for other people as well. It's a good reminder that sometimes you're doing more than you actually think you're doing, right? Like, your actions are not just your actions. It's more than like the sum of its parts. It propagates, like a tree or something else, like some kind of plant where like it kind of has this propagating effect, and you never know how it's going to be received, obviously, especially with like art and that kind of stuff. You don't know how people are going to use the things that you teach them, but I feel like it's an important reminder that if you're trying, usually that I think that usually means that you're making some kind of difference. At least I think so. It's a long-winded kind of weird moral, but whatever. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think we'll listen to the song one more time, and this time I'm gonna try using the watercolors. Let me prep up the. Let's see, do I have the water and everything ready? I think so. So I'm gonna do a kind of like triangle composition here, where it's kind of going downwards like that, like something like that, and then I'm gonna like have the sides kind of. I'm not sure if they're gonna be white or yellow or whatever, but primarily I'm going to use red. So I'm going to be using, let me see if I can get into the frame. These colors, this is more brown, this more orange, but these three colors in general. So we'll be using some brushes and some water, and we'll get into it. So this should be dry by now. Yep, should be dry. So I'm going to just start to, yeah, I'm going to just start. Let's play one more time. I guess, yeah, the top light is gonna be red. I think the fingers are a bit lost there, but I can fix that, I think. I think if I really need to, I can fix it with acrylic paints. Here, I guess. So my plan is all the top facing elements are gonna be hit by red light. So I think the rest is gonna be blue or purple. Let's go with purple. I think this is purple, even though it looks like black. Let's see. Yep, it's purple. Sorry that I'm not looking at the chat right now. Watercolors tend to dry up fast, at least the way I use them. So I need to be quite conscientious. And with my blending, let's see. Okay. I think this is an interesting case where, yeah, I think the clothing I'm going to render a little bit differently maybe. So maybe I'll render it in, I don't know. Maybe it will be, like the shadows is definitely going to still be purple, but maybe, yeah, maybe just red, like red, but like maybe a bit lighter or something. Let me just do this part here, or I could keep it white. I don't think that's going to be the play though. I don't think that's going to look good. I think red is going to be the answer. I'm just going to make the face a bit more sharp, I guess. Okay, let's take a look. Let me take a break so that I can take a look at the chat real quick. All right. Yes, for money. I plan on selling them as prints, non-commissioned, but the tourism season is winding up, so I'll make good money if I lock in and get some of them done before March or April. Also, programming is totally creative. There's definitely an art to language. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like I think a lot of people, I think the main people who think that programming is not creative are maybe like beginners at programming, or I don't know. I'm not gonna like assume actually, but I feel like I've met people who don't think it's a creative endeavor, And that, I don't think that's, I think that's primarily like probably ignorance on their part. Like they haven't done too much of it. Because once you, of course, like the fundamentals are kind of this thing where, it's the fundamentals. It's kind of like you're learning the mechanics of it, right? So kind of like with drawing, you're learning like perspective, you're learning all these building blocks, and it doesn't feel like an art. It kind of feels like you're just learning these very solid art fundamentals. But once you got them on lock, you can start playing around. That's where the real juice starts. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with not red. Let's go with orange for the. Let's go with orange for the shirt there. I don't know if this is gonna work. Also, I don't know why it's blending into some of the inks because those should be water fast. I was just explaining earlier that I was using water fast inks. So one of them, I'll look into it, but maybe it hasn't dried completely or something like that. I'm not sure. But it looks like specifically it looks like the brush pen, which is strange because I just used it last night and didn't seem to have that issue. Maybe I just didn't let it have enough time to dry, or I'm using a different paper, or so many reasons that could be the case. Let's see here. Okay, let's just do this and just blend it in a little bit, and then it still looks pretty cool though. I think it looks pretty neat. Let's see. I took programming in high school, and even though I was just learning the fundamentals, I could instantly see how it was a creative art, deciding which functions to use and when, or making new ones. Yeah, for sure. Like, I learned it when I was like fairly young, so I guess, like I said, I learned like PHP and MySQL when I was 11 or so. I made my first video game when I was 8 or 9. I actually contributed to the experimental gameplay project, which was an ongoing project at the time that included stuff like World of Goo and stuff like that. So at the time I was I was 8 or 9 years old when I was doing that stuff. Yo, Brent, hello, yeah, long time no see. It looks like a generic action man from every 90s American action cartoon. Yeah, I guess it kind of does, huh? I did kind of want to make it seem a bit more in line with the song, but maybe I'm also getting a bit too distracted by, well, the myriad of things that are happening, I guess. The fact that I'm streaming, the fact that I am working with a medium that I am not as in tune with, etc., etc. Or it might just be the case that it kind of like fits the song for me, but not for everybody else, which is also okay. Let me see. I do think like some of the details are getting very, very much lost though, just because of like the camera for one, but also, yeah, you know what? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try something here. So this whole thing might just be ruined right now, which is fine. Like I said, this is just an experiment, but I'm gonna try to. Yeah, before I do that, let me actually put a bit of purple paint down here. I wasn't expecting it to blend that much, so this whole thing might be ruined and we have to retry, which is okay. But I want to do something before we do that. So I have this is kind of like a silicone baking tray. This is essentially meant for, like I believe like cakes and stuff, but like I find that it works very well for acrylics because acrylics do not adhere well to silicone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some Apple Barrel, very expensive 50-cent paints, and we're just going to use this horribly cheap paint and just try to use it to cover up any mistakes because I don't have any expensive acrylic. Sorry, I'm gonna try to like purchase some, but right now, no, I don't have any. Let's see. Oh, I meant that in the best way possible. Yeah, no. I'm sorry if I misinterpreted it. Chat distracts art men from art. Looks cool as hell. Line and wash is hard. Yeah. I think like the line and wash is specifically it works better for stuff like this, where it's a bit more light. So I do think I don't know if I'd agree with the fact that it's not ruined because I do not like how it's coming out right now at all. But that's okay, you know. Like you can always keep working away at a piece, and if it's really ruined, you can always redo it. So what we're gonna do before we kind of play the song for the last time, because I did say that we are gonna listen to it 3 times and try to like put it down onto the page, is I'm gonna try my best to kind of like white out certain sections. Oh, that's okay. That's instantly better. Actually, that's way better. I can kind of see how this might fix it if I just do a few passes. The translucency of the paint in this case actually works to my favor because I can do a few glazing passes of it. All right. You can see how this might work. I might need to give it a bit of time to dry though, but we can use a different piece of paper. What I was thinking, right, is after I did this experiment, I was like, maybe you guys could give me some recommendations for what to draw, and then I'll draw them. And we'll put all of the art into a public domain. We'll just like have it so that we'll maybe put it into the art pack that I have on Itch, where like people can just use it in their books for free. Something that I've been thinking of a lot recently is why I do what I do. And I think for me at least, the primary reason is I like to help people. And I wanted to kind of bring that to the forefront and kind of work more at that. So I wanted to make more pieces of art that people can just use in their books without, you know, I mean, I think the only thing that I say is like attribution, right? Like you need to like say that I'm the artist. But other than that, you don't have to pay me. You don't have to do anything. You can just use it in whatever thing you're making. And I was actually inspired to do that. Oh, funny story. Yeah, I might as well tell this story while I'm like doing this stuff. But funny story, I actually met one of my hobby heroes just randomly the other day, like a week ago or so. So are you guys familiar with this guy called Trent? Trent from Miscast? Trent Holbrook. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. He's just like my hobby hero, I guess. He just does like these insane like terrain builds and all this cool war game stuff. And I found out about him before I knew what war games were. So I just thought he was like, you know, making like little guys. I didn't know that it was for a game or anything. This was like years ago. But I've been following him ever since. And he's kind of inspired. He's kind of the reason why I put my art up for free. So he inspired me to do that. There's a lot of things that he's inspired me with, and he's just just a force of nature, really. Oh, there's so many messages. Let's see. What's the name of the song again? Oh, the name of the song is "Free to Die," by Elf collaboration with Filter. Hello, RoboCrash. This video you did was very intriguing. The second video, the first episode, should be up by I think this week. I think I have done almost all the illustrations for it and stuff. Let's see. Also, quick question: what is your recommendation for system for someone who has ADHD? Been struggling to get back into it like I used to. It's an interesting question. Definitely not AD&D. I'm thinking about like what systems can are good for that. It's an interesting question. Let me get back to you on that one because I'm not really quite sure. My instant kind of like thought was like like something that will kind of have the emphasis on the adventure itself rather than the rules. So it will, for me, right, I would say like OD&D, but I almost kind of biased. So like I really like OD&D, and I like I would say Littlest Brown Book, actually, like specifically Littlest Brown Book, which is a kind of a, not variant, it's like kind of a retro clone that has a lot of interesting kind of little things to it. Let's see. also draw an angry wolf. My favorite thing to draw when I have art block. I will do that. I have ADHD and I'm having a blast with Color Rough. Color Rough is actually a fantastic recommendation for that. Because Color Rough, I feel like it, especially as a solo player, it gives you like kind of like a procedure, kind of a framework to follow, but you can break out of that procedure or framework very easily, and you can add in your own stuff very easily. And it's just very easy to expand on, but it has a very strong base. And I think that's very important, especially for somebody who is getting back into the hobby or is just getting into the hobby in general. So that's actually a better recommendation than the one I gave, I think. I'll go with that instead, like Color Rough. Speaking of which, after I finish up the Flying Ostriches like playthrough essentially, I am thinking of continuing the Color Rough series because I really want to actually like finish it, whether I die or whether like something happens. I do want to finish that series. It's been a long time though, so I'm not sure whether I don't know. I'm not sure. I do also want to do an OD&D solo playthrough. I'm just getting back into all this because of after my health issues last year. It's been kind of rough, but I'm finding that making videos and doing all this stuff is kind of therapeutic. Streaming as well is very, very therapeutic. My friend Aggie actually recommended that I, stream again because I seem to have a really fun time doing it. And when I'm drawing and stuff, I usually hang out in like voice chats, but I find that that can be too energy consuming for me, I suppose. Can be a bit too much. So yeah, I kind of tend to nowadays just do stuff either in voice chat or in silence, like by myself. But when I work by myself, I tend to overdo it, and I feel like streaming is just a nice in between. Let's see, ink is expensive, cheap as toner. We inspired some art and photography in the public domain, and it's hard to have. Oh, nice. Yeah. You told me about that. That I've inspired you to put some of your art into the public domain. That's amazing. I'm really happy to hear that. Maybe Karen. Maybe Karen. Yeah, maybe. I was left on a cliffhanger on the previous. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was around time when I thought I was gonna be able to get back into video making, and then I realized that I actually have horrible health issues. It will probably be not great as an idea to continue this series. So I kind of just left it at where it was. Yeah. But hopefully I can get back into it. Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay. I'm not hating it, but I do think there's not enough contrast. I don't think I hate it. Yeah, I'm gonna say that like it's okay. It's like not the best painting ever, but it's something. It's not something I throw away for sure. If it was on not on sketchbook, but actually I probably know that's a lie. I will definitely throw this away. I've thrown away better paintings than this, but I think what I need to do is essentially fill up this entire section with like black or near black. So I'm gonna use black watercolor and kind of like fill up this area here and kind of like almost an ink wash kind of thing. Maybe I need a bigger brush for this. No, I think this will work. I'm just using my my miniature painting brushes because primarily because I think those are the best brushes that I have. And I'm about to just ruin them, I guess, by doing this, but it's okay. I have like a few more. I have the ones that I primarily use are not these ones. These are more of the older brushes. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm just gonna like fill up this entire like left area, and thankfully because this is watercolor paper, sorry, it will not warp. I hope. Just hope. Highlights are making a difference now. Yeah, I hope so. I think it will look good once I put the entire thing in darkness. Let's see. I'm dying to see what kind of color it's gonna have. I'm actually thinking of leaving that as white. Actually, I'm thinking of essentially just like having that just be white, because I feel like, I don't know, it just feels right. I don't want to think about it too much, or think into it too much rather. I don't want to analyze it too much, I guess. I was listening to this interview with this artist recently on the Heavy Art Talk podcast, which, if you've never heard of it, I recommend looking it up. It's about artists who do like primarily heavy metal art for album covers and such. I'm actually in their Discord. They're very nice people, and they're very, very hardworking and talented. And I'll sing praises about them all day. But I was listening to this episode with, I believe it's Strange House. Strange House was, I believe, like the podcast guy was running the podcast, Lee, was asking the guy like what does he like about his own piece, and he's like, he thought about it for a bit, and he's like, not sure, but I don't want to think into it too much, And that made me, yeah, that was a weird kind of, not weird, but like that made me think, yeah, sometimes I just kind of want to leave it almost as a mystery as to why I like the piece. Not always, it depends, but sometimes. Leaving things white is good in watercolor? I think so. Yo, Theo, what's up? That was a fantastic game we had the other day, the Mandog game. By the way, there's gonna be a review of Mandog going up on the channel fairly soonish. I think like next week probably, because I have written up like a little bit of a. I've written up like basically a review outline for how I'm gonna approach it. I guess I should fill in for everybody else who's in chat. I played in a game of this thing called Mandog. It's an adventure written by Gromb, layout by Stella Condry, editing by Sam Sorensen, and it is my favorite adventure of last year. I ran it, I've played in it, and I have also at this point read several session reports of it. So I think I'm ready to review it. I don't usually have reviews on the channel, right? Because I just, here's my hot take. I feel like okay, maybe I shouldn't say this. I'll say it, whatever. I feel like people don't really give enough thought into, or like enough play into their reviews. I guess like what I'm saying is that a lot of people seem to, I don't know, like there's a lot of like these reviews out there where people don't seem to have read the thing in full, or like adventures and stuff, like they run different every time you play them. So yeah, that's an argument there, but like I feel like running them no matter what gives you an idea of the adventure, right? So I feel like if you're gonna review an adventure, you should at least have run or played it at least once. I feel that's what I feel. I don't know, like I maybe I'm overstepping my bounds here. It's just it just bugs me, like I feel like there's some reviews that seem to kind of miss the point of adventures, which the point would not have been missed if it was kind of tested out, if it was played. Because a lot of the things that, I'm not going to call out specific people, but a lot of the things that you find in some reviews, and I'm just saying in general here, a lot of the things seem to be like they didn't really try it out, I guess. Which is odd, given that the point of an adventure is to run it. Let's see. I like reviews so I can see some interesting stuff that's available in the OSR. And I love a hot take. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to like, I don't want to like, I don't want to talk badly about anybody in specific, or even in general. It's just, I feel like this is a thing that's happening quite a bit. So if you notice any of the reviews in my channel, I have a few up: Moss Mother's Maze, Kalraf, etc. I've played them or run them quite a bit before I actually, and of course I've read them in full before I actually, wrote the review, or like okay, the other one is a Beyond Kernigran, which I ran several sessions of it before I sat down and did a review as well. So it's always been the case that unless it's a quick look, in which case I'll say it's a quick look, I try my best to give an informed kind of opinion if it is a review, right? Like if you're gonna say it's a review, I guess it's a thing. If it's a first look, it's a first look. That's fine. But if it's a review, it's a like if it's a review, I feel like a bit more attention needs to be put into it. Like you actually have to read the thing you're reviewing. I feel like that doesn't seem like it should be a hot take, but yeah. Do you think Mendog would be solo friendly? I don't have people to play with. Trying to GM for people in life who don't play, but it's hard to get a group together. That's an interesting question, actually, because I've been working on something on my own that I haven't released out into the wild at all. That should be able to allow you to solo like investigative modules or stuff like Prospero's Dream for a Mothership, stuff like that, or like Mendog, for example, with relative ease. And the thing in question is a very small pamphlet that is very detailed reaction results, essentially. Like it's not detailed reaction results in that like, oh, they're going to do this. It's more that their personality is detailed out. So like, for example, you might meet somebody who is an what's the how do you say this word? Ascetic, ASCETIC. So if you offer them goods in return for services, they will think more poorly of you, stuff like that. And that's actually like listed out in a mechanic that I have in the booklet, which is the whole thing is like on one page. Actually, I can show it. I think I have it on the other table. Let me see if I can grab it real quick and then come back here and then I can continue this. Give me 1 second, because I think this is important to show. Okay, I'm back. Ah, man. Okay, I found it. Here it is. So this is the reaction table. So essentially it's the main thing is like the personalities. The personality is D66, and each one gives an actual modification in how the reaction is treated. So for example, if you meet someone who is naive, then your charisma bonus will be doubled because that makes sense, right? And you're more likely to be able to parlay with them even if the initial reaction is bad. If you meet someone who is pious, they will regard you if you are of the same faith as them, and if you parlay with them and offer service to said faith, then it will be much more likely for them to help you, stuff like that. And then there's a simple parlay system with bargaining, which I will not use for group games. The rest of this I would use for group games, but this part here I wouldn't use this at all. I would say it's GM fiat. But this stuff I think is pretty useful for doing those kind of like social adventures, for lack of a better term. Or like social parts of adventures. So you can use this on OD&D, stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. I kind of missed a lot of messages. I apologize so much. Lance, I saw that message. I'm not gonna read it out, but yeah, that. The point of a review is that you need to give an educated opinion, and for that you need to play unboxing. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very cool. Looking forward. Yeah. So that's essentially what I have. I haven't put it up yet anywhere, but I think I'm gonna put it up soon. And I might make a video on it because it's probably, out of all the things that I've written to this point, like over the years, this is probably the most useful thing that I've ever made for solo play. Like just straight up the most useful thing, which is, I think it's I wouldn't say it's a high bar. I don't think I make a lot of crazy good stuff, but I have made a lot of stuff, I guess. So this is the thing that I think is the most useful period for like solo plays. So I feel like I should make a video on it if I do release it. Yeah. Let's see. I do have a PDF of this up somewhere. Not yet. It's still in progress. I'm still like working away at it. I've been working away at these 2 pages for essentially 2 years now. I've been like tweaking it constantly. So I've like tried different ideas out. I've tried like more in-depth kind of like reaction system. I've tried more in-depth parlay system. What I ended up on was an in-depth personality system. So that seems to work really, really well. At least for me, right? Like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna suggest that like, oh, this is gonna work for everybody who like plays solo RPGs, because that's not the case. But for me, like, it's the most useful thing that I've made for myself. Will buy as soon as I can. You don't have to buy it. I'm gonna put it up for free, completely for free, because I just want to help people. But speaking of helping people, yo, JP, hello. I really have been enjoying. Actually, JP, I've been watching like some of your earlier videos, specifically the one about making a DM screen. That actually inspired me to make my own DM screen several times actually, as well as the video about using like grid paper to like just sort out encounters and stuff like that. Bunch of that was actually the main inspiration, part of a few inspirations for like the video that I have on terrain. Because I made this video on like simple gridded terrain, and like that kind of evolved from me using essentially the grid paper stuff. And I was like, I want a way to be able to do that without having to draw it on the fly. Yeah. You're the goat for giving the free goodies. I mean, like, the thing is, I mean, if I do put it up for sale, I'll like put infinite community copies, or I'll put it up for pay what you want or something. You know, I wouldn't. I'll probably just put it up for pay what you want. That'll probably be the easiest. But I think that's the most useful thing that I've made for solo play. So I feel like I probably will have it up in, I'd say like by the end of next month. I think I'll have it up. That being said, that all being said, I also am working on Chaos Crawl issue 2, and that is completely finished except for 2 pages. So that will also be up by the end of this month. Yeah, so the reaction thing probably next month, and Chaos Crawl is probably this month is the idea, I think. Okay, so I'm not sure I'm a fan of how this this drawing turned out. Actually, I'm not. I have no idea. I'm actually not sure if I like this or not. But I don't know. I can always edit it down later. I can scan it in, change it up, whatever. Let me see. What is bothering me about it? I'm not sure actually. Like, I guess there's a lot of like, maybe just the colors. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's okay. It's not like it's bad or anything. It's just something about it is bothering me. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just because I haven't lit up all the red parts. That I might try that. Let me try that real quick. But yeah, no, like JP, huge inspiration to me. I was talking about like I think previously I was talking about like Trent and Miscast and how I got to kind of like know them and stuff like that. JP is another huge inspiration. Carl Latino, Mapcro, another huge inspiration as well. And that's all these people who kind of inspired me to start making stuff, which I think is super valuable. Right arm, I think his right arm. Yeah, his right arm is kind of like behind all of that, right? Also, some arm right. I actually I'm okay with his right. I'm actually okay with like the arm situation here. It is kind of odd, but I kind of like it. I think it's the colors that's like giving me pause, honestly. Like, I don't think the arm placement is realistic or anything, but I do like it. You know what I mean? It's just something about it is just kind of screaming out to me that's like, this is wrong. I think I know what it is actually. I think I know what it is. I think it's actually the clothing folds here. I think it's drawing too much attention away from the main thing, which is like his face, right? Yeah. That was it actually. That was it. Yeah. Like, once I made it more subtle or like more folds, this kind of like leads up to here. Yeah, that was it. That was it. I at least I think that was I think that was it. I'll start another drawing real soon, but before that we'll play the song one last time and see if we can like kind of get any more juice out of the song. Because I kind of like started to paint this, trying to be inspired by the song, but I don't think any of the song actually directly inspired any of this. It's just the kind of, I guess, flow of it. There is something I want to try to do though. Let me see. Do I have any red paint? Yeah. Yeah, I have like miniature paint. I have like miniature red paint. But it's been cool seeing you pop up on trends videos. Yeah, it's great. Like just it was weird because I was like talking to I was mentioning this guy previously. Henner Simpson, who made this sculpt. So I was like talking to him on voice chat, and like Trent just like hopped on, and I was like talking to him for a few hours, and we just like, I don't know, it was just very nice conversation. I was like, I don't know, it's just really weird to like have this guy who's like inspired you for so long, and you just talk to them suddenly like one day, you know, like it's strange to me. It's, I don't know if like it's strange to anybody else, but like to me it's kind of like, oh, that's not, it's just kind of weird. I don't know how to put it. It's not like I'm not saying like in a parasocial way. I'm just saying like just kind of odd that that can happen in nowadays, you know what I mean? Because of the fact that like I guess we're so interconnected and everything like that. I don't know how to put it. But okay, this is what I wanted to try to do. I'm gonna get distracted from that whole side tangent because I was like, I think the other thing that was bugging me was the fact that there's no like strong colors, because like I'm using a lot of like diluted watercolors. So I'm gonna actually use like acrylics and try to see whether I can essentially make most of it a bit more vibrant. My swap out the shadows for a more blue-gray to complement the orange-red. I think actually I'm gonna keep the shadows, but make the red even more crazy and like have it seep more into the shadows. Small community, we're all right here together. Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is very true. I really like to see like Carl has been making a lot of like Kid Bear stuff on Instagram, and I'm like, holy shit, this amazing. It's like it's such incredible stuff that everybody's making. It like really makes me very happy, I guess. Like to see people just making stuff, just like, you know, inspiring each other. Just it gives me a warm fuzzy feeling. I don't know. Like genuinely speaking, I'm not saying that as a joke or anything. I realize like me saying, oh, it gives me a warm fuzzy feeling sounds like a joke, but it's really not. It's like does feel like it does feel genuine. Also, I think I know what I want to do with this. I think I'm gonna get rid of the purples actually. I might just make that like black, because I think I'm gonna make this a lot more stark. I think I'm gonna change the direction of this entire painting. If it turns out to be a mistake, it turns out to be a mistake. We can just redo it. We can throw it away. We can, you know, do whatever. But I feel like for me, the mistakes are the real juice. Is the real reason I do art. I feel like it feels to me as if like the successes are kind of like milestone. They're caps, right? They're like, oh, I figured out this thing. The real kind of like journey through any creative medium is you fucking up. I feel like anyway. I really do think that failures are essential, not just essential, but the main thing of like creative endeavors. It's also kind of like why I value human-made stuff so much, because the errors kind of like indicate humanity of some sort. Yeah, not to be too deep about it, but I kind of, okay, I'm liking that a lot more. I think I am going to just swap out all of the purple parts for dark, but I'm gonna play the song one last time and try to do it within that time frame, and then afterwards we'll start drawing whatever people request. Okay, let's see if I can get it done by the time the song finishes. Yeah. So like here. I'm gonna have to make this a lot darker. Also, I can't hear myself over the music. That's so weird. Okay, which one is gray? Oh no. I'm freaking out. Will this even work? We'll just try it. So like that. Yeah, okay, that's much better. I think that's... I'm sorry if I'm raising my voice, by the way. It's so weird listening to music while streaming because I cannot hear myself at all. And I don't know if I'm like raising my voice too much or not. But this is really fun. Okay, I think like here as well. And all these sections here. So I need to wait for that to dry, but yeah. You know what actually? Yeah, you know what? Let's not use that. Let's use this cheap ass black pin. Dude, it's not even coming out. There we go. Okay, cool. Alright, there we go. Come on. Man, this experiment of like trying to get the same vibes out of a song has really been helping me at night, specifically. I think I mentioned it at the start of the stream, but it really does help me with my anxiety issues and stuff like that. As someone who has been trying to find a way to solve his anxiety issues for so long, it's been, I don't know, just really, really helpful. Also, I'm sorry that I'm not reading chat right now because I need to finish this up. But I'll read chat right after the song is finished, which should be about now. That looks way better. I'm actually way happier with this than previously. Alright, yeah, that's looking pretty good, I'd say. I think. I don't know, maybe it's terrible. I don't know. Let's see. I promoted your Substack on I promoted your channel on Substack yesterday. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if my message went through, but my internet died and maybe some rebound warm yellow light on him from a touch. Ooh, yeah. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because I think I'm gonna try to make it so that it's all white, red, and black. I think that would be cool. But yeah, you're right. It does fit the moodiness of the song, though. You're right about that. Like I think I was initially planning to just do those colors, but you're absolutely right that like the fact that they collaborate with like filter. No, I agree with you. Actually, I agree with you. Like I think in that case, I wonder if this even works. I've never tried watercolor over paints. I don't know how that's gonna... Is that gonna work? I'm not sure. We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. Like I said, what's the worst that could happen, right? So we'll try... You know what? Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna paint all of it, all the white parts. I'm gonna paint it red except for the hair, firstly. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to put some yellow as opaque paint over top. And if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna paint over it. I think that's the play. Yeah, okay, this works really well because the rest of the red paint, right, is kind of like darkened up a little bit. from like interactions with the ink and stuff. So this is a really interesting experiment, I think, like what I'm doing right now. I'm going to keep the hair white, but everything else I'm going to try to paint as red. Um, hmm, yeah, yeah. Just do like a little bit of a gradient so that the bottom part it's a bit lighter. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I should have just done this from the start, to be honest. But you know, like that's how you find out. That's how you experiment, right? Like you mess up. It's fine. I think we need to water this down a little bit, but yeah, let's try like something like that. Should dry up a little bit more transparent than what it came down as, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Also, not gonna lie, I want you to scan this and mess around with it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna actually I might not be able to scan this because of the way that the sketchbook is laid out. But I am going to like take a picture of it at the very least if I can't scan it. So I'm gonna take a picture of it and then like use the what I tend to do when I'm working with these kind of images is that I tend to use the camera raw filter in Photoshop. So that filter actually allows you to, how do I put this? Like it allows you to essentially change the texture and detailing of whatever piece you're working on so that it accentuates the physical elements of the piece. So like say if you're using a watercolor piece, you can accentuate the paper grain a lot more. You can control which parts to accentuate. So I would highly recommend that if anybody is doing traditional art, specifically oils, acrylics, or watercolors, or something with texture to it, use a photo or a scan, and then use the camera raw filter in Photoshop. That trick helped me a lot. Yeah. No, I'm liking this way more just like all red actually. And then like the eyes and the hair are white. I kind of like it a lot more. It's kind of a mess at this point, but like I think I am going to like scan it in and essentially touch it up. And I also tried the yellow thing. I'm really not sure whether the yellow thing will work. And by not sure, I mean like I think it's a toss up. There's a chance it might work. And I'm really interested to know if it will work. So let's try it. I think to do that, I would have to essentially get some miniature paints to do that. So let's try that. Huh. I don't know. Should the yellow light, I think the yellow light will be coming from the bottom. We'll use moonbeam yellow. The red on the face looks good. Yeah, I think so. Like I think I'm gonna have like lighting come from the bottom, but like with a bit of the purple kind of still there. Should be nice. Also, I'm using these expensive ass miniature paints on this. I need to get like some proper I don't really have any other than the apple barrel stuff. I don't really have any paints that cover very well. So I'm just using miniature paints on these paintings, which is horrible. Don't do that. Don't follow what I'm doing. There you go. It's a complete waste. But they are very heavily pigmented, so like it does kind of work actually. I don't have to use very much of it because they're so pigmented. So I'm not wasting a lot of it, but it's oh man, it's the worst art advice possible. Just like using these expensive ass like miniature paints to do a watercolor acrylic painting. Okay, that works. I think the yellow light, if I use it as a rim light, it really does work. No, that's a great suggestion, Lance. Thank you so much. Oh man, I'm actually so happy with that. Okay. Let's see. Where else will the rim light hit? This part here as well. Like around here. Which might be an issue because this part, I think I use paints on it so it will blend. Yeah, it's gonna blend. I have to wait for it to dry then. I have to wait for it to dry. So I might have to do this off screen afterwards. And also I wanted to do some paintings of like stuff that people request. The only request I think I've seen was from Lance, which is like a wolf. If anybody wants me to draw anything else, do tell me and I'll I'll draw it. Can be anything you want. Essentially, I'm just doing that so that I can just warm up for the rest of the day. So I'm okay if anything. Let's see. Okay. No, the rim light does help a lot, I think. It kind of like I think I do have to wait for it to dry because it's kind of like intermixing way too much with the other paints, but it kind of works. It's just I do have to wait for it to have a bit of patience here. And I might just draw other stuff in the meantime while it's drying, if that's the case. Or I could just have no patience and I could like use a bit of like kitchen towel to dab on it and have it dry instantly. Huh, choices. Goblin riding the wolf. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna, yeah, yep. That's gonna be, since wolf was like suggested, and a goblin riding a wolf, that would be perfect. Yeah, let's do that. Let me do that while I am waiting for this to dry then. All right, I wanted to show off this new toy essentially that I have. It's not toy, it's like pen. Why did I say toy? Yeah, I guess like new pens are kind of like toys to me. But it's like kind of a parallel pen that has a knife as a tip. And I've been really enjoying it for really gestural ink studies and stuff like that. So we're gonna do that. Okay, right after I finish this up. I can't I don't know, like I really don't know how I feel about this piece because it's some parts of it I really like, some parts of it I actually really dislike. So I'm still kind of torn about like how I feel about it. But I think once I have some time away from it, I'll be able to see what about it bothers me still, and then I'll be able to fix it. Wait, one last thing before we switch over to that. I think it's the red on the areas here. There seems to be like two sources of lighting, right? Because of the paint mixture. So I'm gonna try to like essentially just make it fully red. Let's see whether that works. Essentially like have it be a kind of like flat red, you know? Oh man, I don't know if that worked. Oh well, I'm not gonna think too much about it. I'm just gonna like do this thing to kind of accentuate the hair, and yeah, that's it. All right, moving on. Just grab out a piece of paper. Okay, let's see. Goblin Wolf Rider. All right, let's see. How the hell am I gonna draw this? Let's see. I need to get some reference imagery of like I guess a wolf and a goblin. I like a guy riding a horse or something. Wolf. Okay, here we go. Wolf. Okay, there we go. I guess I'll just draw the wolf first, and then I'll draw the goblin on top of it. Should I do a sketch, or should I just jump into it? You know what? Fuck it. You know, screw it. Like, if there's any mistakes, actually, wait. If there's any mistakes and I use the acrylics, this is gonna blend with this particular pen, so I can't have any mistakes with this pen. Yeah, screw it. If I make any mistakes, I'll just redo it. It's fine. All right, let's try it. So this pen is special. Let me see if I can show it properly. It's kind of like a knife tip. And yeah, it will just just. I mean, who cares, right? So let's just essentially just start drawing. So the thing is, you can make a very fine line like that, right? But you can also, because of the way the ink pools, you can essentially do very harsh strokes. Like, I'm not doing it properly. I think I have to shake it a bit, but what is happening? Wait, is it clogged up? I might have to clean it. It might be clogged up. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I think it's clogged up. I'm gonna have to clean this afterwards. They do give you some cleaning supplies for it that comes along with the pen itself. But I haven't had to use them yet. But I think last time I accidentally clogged it up with some acrylic paints because I'm a stupid idiot. But so, you know, that happened. But yeah, let's do yeah, like that. Just that, and then it's more like a tabby cat, but it's fine. Like that, I guess. But yeah, I can see how like gestural this is, right? Like you can do this like really thick strokes with it, like that. It's really cool because I can kind of like mix it in as well. Yo, Belona's Cave, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, I'm thinking like something like this probably. Where it's like, it seems like yeah, this is a bit clogged up, so I might not use this tool actually for this particular drawing or for the rest of it, unless it unless it behaves and stops clogging up. I might have to actually use something else because it's kind of, it's the first time that it's clogged up though. Usually it doesn't do this. Definitely because I kind of put it through some acrylic stuff previously. But I really like the fact that you can do stuff like this. Like, check this out. If I can even get it to get a paint out of there, or ink out of there. What the hell? Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean the insides. So the way that this works is that there's two blades there, and on the inside, the ink comes through. So sometimes the stuff gets clogged up, and you essentially have to use I think like a little bit of a knife to like kind of get in there, and well, to give like materials for it. But it's really fun to draw with. It's just that it does take a bit of maintenance. Is all. Okay, let's try. Actually, it's kind of starting to behave now a bit, so it's fine. Really enjoying watercoloring. Oh yeah. So we were doing some watercolor like previously, but it actually turned out to be more of like a watercolor slash acrylic slash ink kind of thing. I actually think like watercolor will not work on this particular piece that I'm doing right now. So I don't know why I'm using this pen, because like if I use watercolors with this, it will wreck this piece because this is not water fast ink. So I don't know why I decided to do that. It's fine. We'll just do like a wolf first, and then we'll like have another drawing, a separate drawing of like a goblin on said wolf. It's okay. I mean, this wolf is looking kind of weird, but it's okay. That's all right. I can show some of the other watercolor stuff that I've been working on recently, but I was just telling everybody that it's like been really calming to it. Like it's been really fun just to you know, just to at the end of the day just like have some tea, like some paper, and just draw a map or you know whatever. This one is like yeah, that kind of goes down there. It's fine. I can fix it. This kind of goes like that. I think what we might do actually is I needed to do the final capstone illustration of the Bear Witness videos, right? So we might do that on stream if I have enough energy. Also, if I can make it for lunch, because it's gonna be lunchtime soon. Acetone quick dip. Like, you mean like for miniatures? Because I've only ever heard of acetone being used for miniatures, like to get rid of the paints on there. I guess it's used for like regular painting as well. I'm not familiar, I guess. Um, it is kind of weird. Yo, permanent backlog. Yeah, I'm doing pretty okay. I'm drawing a really horrible facsimile of a wolf right now. Trying my best. I don't know why. It feels like the past few days I'm like my drawing seems kind of random. Like sometimes I'd be able to do it well, sometimes it just looks like garbage. And I think the thing from earlier in the stream, the earlier drawing that I just did, is very close on the scale to something that I will just throw away. So I'm not really that happy with it. I think it did turn out better at the end of it, but yeah, I don't. I'm not really that happy with it. I'm gonna have to give it another shot. Maybe we give it another shot. Yeah, instead of doing the Bear Witness thing, we might give the drawing from a song thing another shot in this particular stream before we end off. Oh man, this is not working. I'm gonna switch over. Even though I do enjoy using this tool, it's clogging up too much. Oh well. The problem now is also I can't use the watercolors on this because while the Sakura Pigment Micron is water fast, this thing is not. So it'll be a weird mix. Let's see. Clean pen tip. Oh, okay, right. That makes sense actually. I do have acetone. No, that makes sense. I'll try that. Thank you. They actually did give like some stuff in the box for cleaning that particular nib because it's not just a regular pen nib, but acetone might work for just like getting rid of the gunk. Actually, this this wolf thing didn't come out too bad. It's like it's okay. Let's see. Yeah, he's kind of like just prowling around, stalking the forest side or whatever the case might be. Um, yeah, let's do something like that. I feel like the tail would go down even further. Yeah, like that. It's good. This looks cool. Okay. Let's do something like that. Let's do so we just drew a wolf. Maybe we could do something where I'm trying to think about what else I can add to kind of the drawing to kind of like elevate it. I could do that goblin on top, but I already drew all this stuff here, so and I can't really use the white to eliminate that because, like I said, it's not water fast. It will just blend unless it's dry, which will take a while to dry. Let's see. Maybe you can just have a goblin just be like, uh, yeah, I don't know. Let's have a. Oh, how about this? How about this? How about a troll who has the wolf as a pet? I think that'll be interesting. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Like, we'll just do like something like that. Like, kind of like not in the distance, but like slightly further away. There's this like troll thing. It's kind of that, kind of like looking from below. I think like he's hunched over so that we can actually see his face. I think that'll make sense. Like, so it's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, Thinking like something like that. He's kind of like hunched over. He has weird facial proportions, which is about right for a troll. Something like this, where he's kind of like leaning forward a little bit towards the wolf, and he's kind of like pointing off into the distance. You know, he's like, yeah, he is. He does look quite grumpy, but he's kind of like, yeah, get him, Fido or whatever the wolf's name is. Something like that, and he's kind of like just pointing off into the distance, like he's like, ah, you know. I think that will work, maybe, like that. And I'm just doing this off the top. I'm not using any reference for this, so I'm kind of just I'm just winging it essentially. But yeah, something like that maybe. That's a pretty small hand for such a large guy. I kind of like that actually. It's kind of weird. Maybe he's like cloth, right? Maybe he's like clothing, essentially just rags that are like there's like a hole cut into them and stuff like that. I think that would be cool, like something like this. Yeah, so he's like kind of like leaning back a bit, and he's kind of like, yeah, get him, like that. Maybe he's even like saying something, so like his mouth is a little bit open, like that. Yeah, I kind of like this. This is actually the one illustration that I kind of I'm kind of liking it so far, at least. He's kind of doing that, and I will be able to paint this guy in watercolors. Unfortunately, I can't do the wolf right now. At least right now, I can't do the wolf because the water, if it react, actually I can't do it ever because of the. Actually, maybe I still can do it. It's just the problem is that it will reactivate the ink. So if I'm able to make it work in my favor, maybe I can still do watercolors. But otherwise, I can only do watercolors for this fellow. And he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I get him." So he's gonna maybe like this. The rags kind of go down to here, yeah, like that. It's gonna be like something like this. He's like they're in the snow, right? So it's like he's gonna be like leaning down. Maybe he's like he's like has one knee into the ground, you know? Like he's kind of like doing like that, something like that. Where his knee is he's kind of kneeling down on one of his legs. So it's like that. Then yeah, like he has pretty small hands. So like let's say like he's doing something like that. Yeah, I think that's good. So like that. This is a silly little illustration, but yeah. This guy is grumpy as hell. All right, there we go. Cool. Let's do. Actually, feel like the legs would probably be over here instead of here. So I'm just gonna draw that, and I'm just gonna refashion this as like loincloth essentially. There you go. So like here and here. And then there's a part of his rags coming through there. And yeah, looks good. Yep, looks good to me, I think. Cool. Let's do let's actually like color this guy. Yeah, why not? Let's just color him just real quick. See if I can do it's not really a goblin, so I apologize for that. But it's kind of like, it's goblinish. He's a goblinoid, you know? Maybe we could do more of a knee there, and then yeah, I kind of think his knee should protrude a bit more, so I'm gonna just do that. Something like that. Doesn't even be perfect, just a bit rough is fine. Something like this is okay. And then yeah, I'm gonna have to probably erase that section there. So we'll use some white paint and we'll fix it up. So we'll just do something like that. There you go. And then probably fix up these areas here as well. I will be a bit more careful around here because it's gonna have a bit of watercolor. So I'll probably only fix up the areas on the outside first. Something like that. And I think that's the only area that's like egregious in these errors, I guess. Like something like that. All right, cool. So let's do some watercolor. Thank you, JP. I appreciate that. Why did I splash everything all over? Oh, damn it. Oh, there's water everywhere. Whoops. It's fine. All right. Okay. A bit of this. Just do a base coat. So for watercolors, there's a bunch of ways of doing it, but the way I think of it is essentially a multiply layer, like say in Photoshop. So if you wait for it to dry, like of course you can do wet blending, but if you wait for it to dry, you can essentially layer other colors on top of it and do some pretty interesting results. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of wet on wet to start with. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to actually start to mix it with brown. So I'm actually going to get a bit of that onto here. I'm going to have the brown areas kind of like towards the bottom area here, like that. And then his chin here is going to be the most kind of brownish. And then mix back some of the green. And we're just going to do a bit of wet on wet blending there. There's going to be a bit of more brown towards the areas of the cheeks as well. And that's essentially like just to highlight up the fact that there's blood flowing through those areas. So something like that. And then, yep, for the hands, same thing. You want to kind of like remember that light is coming from the top, obviously, but you don't have to worry about it on the first pass. You just need to make it as light as possible. And you just need to worry about a localized color, is what they call it. So I'm just going to dab in those parts where it will have a little bit more blood. And I'm going through this real quick for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm just going to do this part as well. And then we're going to essentially just put a bit of blood here and there. There you go. As you can see, that looks a lot more lifelike than if you just use green. That's the case for just if you're doing anatomy in general. Like, it's just a good thing to remember that like there are different regions of the face and the body, and like for example, areas where there are more bone showing through will be colored differently from areas where there's a lot of blood flowing through and stuff like that. It's important to kind of like remember that that is the case, even if you're not doing it in a very obvious manner, because subtleties will show through at the end of the day. Doing a little bit of color in any one area that is like very different from the rest of the colors will make it stand out, especially if you're doing something like Goblin, where you have a bit of red in certain areas here and there. This is the one I'm liking the most. Yeah, it's because it's the one in my comfort zone, I think. Like it's just like a orc guy with a wolf. So it's like it's in my comfort zone. The last one was like a massive experiment. But yeah, this one is turning out okay. Like I wouldn't say it's turning out good, but better than the last one, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we could do, yeah, I think the whole thing is gonna essentially be, yeah. I'm gonna have to be real careful around. You see that? You see what happened there? Yeah, that's why I need to be careful, because like I said, that color on the wolf is not like the paint ink I'm fucking up so bad. The ink on the wolf is not color fast, which is why like you have to be careful around that area. And this, which is why I'm not sure how I'm actually going to color the wolf, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, something like this I think will work. Just like doing very approximate blends right now. Just really just dabbing on the color, and the paper is warping pretty bad, but it's fine. Once I scan it in, it won't be an issue. I need to get proper watercolor paper though. Do you ever soak parts of the paper first and then dip the water? Yes, I do that. It's very fun. I did that last night actually. I tend to do it with things where I know that there's gonna be a pattern there. Then I'll just like use a water brush or a brush dipped in water to get the base elements out first, and then I will just kind of like use a ink dropper. That's the term for it. I'll use an ink dropper and I'll just kind of like dab it on essentially, and then it will like just flow through, and it's really satisfying to see. Let's do a little bit of different colors here. Do like a bit of red, a little bit of brown. Let's kind of see where we're going with this. Just having a bit of play. I think anything will kind of like look good given, as long as you stay consistent with it or semi-consistent with it. I think it'll look good. So I think some reds there kind of look like different parts of the fur or whatever he's using as like cloak essentially. I don't know what. I'm assuming he made his cloak out of like animal parts, so that's what I'm thinking about, but it might not be the case. I'm gonna layer it up around here though. I'm also going to do like something like that there. There we go. Cool. All right. Oh, it could just be a white wolf. Like, to be honest, like that might actually work. I might just do like some, like once it completely dries, I might do a little bit of work on there, just like having some blue shadows, but that will just work. Yeah. Don't know why I didn't think of that. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll do that. So I'll probably do that only once it dries up though, because as you can see right now, it's a bit of a mess. When I got some of the colors there, it just like flowed into it. And the problem with not using water fast inks. There you go. All right. Okay, let's do a bit of cleanup work on. Where do I want to go first? Oh, wait, there's also the legs to consider. I think, yeah, I'll do the legs first, and then I'll do the face next, because I do need to add some shadows there. Probably, I'm thinking blue. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Like, I'm thinking like some kind of bluish tone, especially since they're out in the snow and it's like a white wolf. Makes sense, right? I think. Now, let's see. For those of you who like to draw, at what point do you stop being so... At what point did hands being so damn hard to draw? Never. I agree with JP. It's always a tough one. I think, in my opinion, I feel like I'm starting to diverge from this opinion a little bit over the years, but I feel like it's very important to know where your comfort zone is so that you can be at the edge of your comfort zone constantly. So if at any point hands do become easy for you, you should, there's so many different ways to pose the hands, you know what I mean? That it probably does mean that like you have fallen into some kind of comfort zone. The reason I say that is because hands are as expressive. They are some of the most expressive parts of the human body. If you look at Andrew Loomis, his book is called Drawing the Head and the Hands for a reason, right? It's a very kind of a hard thing to draw, even when you're starting out. and the skill ceiling on it gets higher and higher and higher the more you know about it. Same with like faces and stuff. Like you can get to a point where you can be like, okay, I can draw a face pretty easily, but you will probably, unless you're a master of it, you'll probably only be familiar with certain types or certain archetypes of faces, which is why I constantly am looking for different kind of images of like different types of facial structures and different kinds of like portraits to draw. There's this amazing Instagram account, I believe it's called Earth's World. It's run by this guy or girl, or I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure about their gender, but in any case, it's run by someone called Earth, and they do photos of Renaissance fairs where they have the weirdest portraits taken of people. Like the people might not necessarily look weird. It's just that the angle and everything that they take them at makes them look very different from like your regular portrait study. I really enjoy drawing those. I really using those. Really like using those as practice essentially. Terrible news to hear? No, it's good news to hear. I feel like the fact that some things will never be easy is actually a good thing for me at least. Like, I feel like it's like once you kind of are used to something or at least like master something, which never really happens, right? Like at least not with stuff that like has a significantly high skill ceiling. I feel like that's when it gets boring, you know. Like I like these kind of like things that are really hard to draw, and keep pushing myself and keep failing, like I said earlier. But I guess to an extent, like right now I'm drawing a fucking I'm drawing like a troll with a wolf. It's not particularly out of my comfort zone. So to an extent it's okay to be in your comfort zone, but that's not all the time. So I think like hands being hard to draw is actually a really good thing, because the reason they are hard to draw is because they're so expressive, right? So it's good. Let's see. Can build up a collection of poses, that'll be easier. But yeah, it's just tough, right? It's just a really expressive kind of like body part, and it's just fun. I love a challenge, so ultimately it's kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that kind of stuff is important, you know, like I feel like whenever I'm looking for a new medium to kind of like learn and stuff, which I've done like sculpting recently, I've done like all these kind of different things. And I think the nice thing about most creative mediums is that a lot of them have a really, really high skill ceiling. I think the skill ceiling for most of them is infinite. The real question is how low the skill barrier is to start, you know? Which is why I love channels like JP's, because JP basically breaks down the fact that a lot of this stuff in terms of the skill entry point is actually extremely low, and the requirements for materials as well extremely low. It's like it's incredibly important to have those kind of channels and that kind of encouragement, because when you're getting into it, it feels like everything is a barrier. It feels like everything is really hard to do. It feels like you don't know what you're doing. Like I said, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and it's good for someone to go, oh, okay, actually it's as simple as just picking up a pencil and just drawing, like just finding your style. I actually am also of the opinion that like stuff like that, where you kind of are watching channels to kind of like learn and stuff. I feel like that, especially if you're trying to get really, really good at what you're doing, I think it's kind of good for beginners to kind of take a break from all that, because it can be overwhelming. I'm not saying those channels aren't good. Like I just said that they're really good, but I think it's important for the most amount of time for beginners to be spent in their sketchbooks, just like and finding out what they enjoy the most. You know what I mean? Maybe like I don't know, like 5% of the time can be spent watching videos, but most of the time should be done doing practical study on your own, not like with a course or anything. Just, you know, just drawing, doodling around, having fun, messing about. Have you tried screen printing? I have tried different forms of screen printing, but not silk screen. I've tried what was that one called? Etching, like the one where you etch linoleum, right? I've done that a couple times. I've done carving of various things that can be used for screen printing, but I've never done silk screen printing before. I know Blark, our mutual friend, has done that quite a bit. And I believe he tells me it's a huge pain in the ass. He did it for a job for a while, right? I believe. Oh man, this part is tough because it's covered with the wolf. You can disguise bad hands? Yeah, but like, and that's valid, right? I think I think it's valid, but also I do think that it's best to, let me rephrase that. I think it depends what your goal is, right? Like if you're, for example, a comics books illustrator, if you look at like say Todd McFarlane, look up Todd McFarlane and feet, and you'll probably get some weird search results. But to be serious, like you search that up, you'll find a video about him talking about why they hit feet a lot on like Marvel comics and stuff like that. The reason is because they're hard to draw from certain perspectives, so just don't draw them. And that's perfectly valid if you have a good reason for it. But if your goal is just to, just learn anatomy and stuff like that, I think like shying away from that kind of stuff can hinder you in the long run, like hiding. I do think it's like it's still valid to do. It just depends what kind of particular skill you want to work towards, I guess. Right? Like yeah, like for example, if you're working towards more abstract art or something like that, then it wouldn't be as important. But if you're learning like anatomy specifically, then it's really important to know how to draw a hand. Even if you're like constantly shitty at it like I am, it's still important to like learn and practice. Burning screen sucks. I think let's see. Yeah. No, I get that. I meant more like for essentially for your sketchbooks, right? Not for the stuff you're showing people. Actually, let me show you guys something. This is related to the current conversation. But let me show you something. Like I said, I'm new to watercolors and stuff like that, right? So I have been failing a lot because I used to paint in watercolors, but it's been a long time since I painted with them. And obviously, like you can look at this right now, this is not that great. This is like, this is middling. But I have some stuff to show you, and it's like it's probably really bad for me to show it because it's just horrible art. But let me bring it over. Okay, I was gonna throw all of this away. So yesterday I was doing some painting. I was gonna throw all of this stuff away because I hated how it looked. Well, I like this one, I guess. This was my friend did well in the card tournament, and I drew this as a way of saying, hey, congrats. But I do so many bloody drawings that I hate so much, and I just don't show, right? Like there's so many different drawings that I do. Like this one was me trying to figure out a composition. I hated all these. I hate this one. I hate this one. I hate this one. I hate. Well, this was me just like testing out how certain things react to the paper that I was using. But like I was trying out a certain kind of like just something, and I was just like failing constantly. I had this particular image I had in my mind, I guess, and I think that's important because it's important to note that like when you're doing a new medium or you're learning something new, like I said, the failures are what essentially make up the process, especially at the start. And you have to embrace that. You have to be like, okay, it is kind of like just part of it, right? Because like I think I was saying earlier that failure is the heart and soul of like creative processes. But it still sucks. Like at the start, it like still sucks to be like, oh, I can't draw. Like I drew this hand and it looks like a bunch of carrots. It's like, it's still awful. Like what the hell is even this? Like, but you know, like most people, if you look like Instagram or look at like, I don't know, some social media, they're posting the stuff that they made that, you know, is good, right? Like, or, you know, it's presentable. You don't have to show most of your drawings. In fact, I throw most of my drawings away, like maybe 50% of them. Don't show anybody at all. Because like even the ones that I think are good, right? I just usually most of the time I'm drawing for practice, and it's like, you know, it is what it is. Let me see, I missed some messages. Any crucial tips for learning shading and making black and white images feel less flat? Yeah, yes, I do have some crucial tips for that. I would say pick up, I can never pronounce his name correctly, but pick up Framed Ink by Matteo Mette. I'm gonna butcher his name, but just search for the book Framed Ink, and you'll find it. It's a very 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 in-depth discussion on composition, lighting, etc. in black and white for primarily film and like comics. Yeah. All good things are brought for failure. My life is a study of that. Yeah, I think that's most people, right? Like, if we're talking like candidly, like, I have so many health issues, but each kind of like health issue, and each time I go to the doctor, and each time they do a failed test, that's one more thing that is eliminated from the current pool of what might be causing the health issues. You know what I'm saying? It's one more kind of thing that's called out, and you can go, okay, we figured out that it's not this. Like I said, the worst thing is when you don't know what you don't know. It's more like this like I said, like this is not good, but it's okay. Like I'm still learning, and that should be the case for most people. Let's see. Herbal artist here. I will be read this. I'll be using my own art because I can't afford to pay others and want to avoid the controversy of AI. I have a video on free art resources for RPGs, and I have a video on photo bashing for zines. I say that up front, just in case you're a terrible artist in your view, who does not want to also do art. Because art, like, it's enjoyable for me, but I can accept that like it might not be something everybody wants to do. But if it's something that you really truly do not enjoy doing after a bunch of time doing it, then you can obviously like photo bash stuff. You can do take public imagery, like public domain imagery, or like I put out some images on my itch that you can use in your books and stuff like that. There's a bunch of ways of going about it. It's just that I would recommend like trying out art for maybe a few months, see whether you like it or not, from a more informed perspective. I don't know how long you've been doing art, to be clear. I might be spouting off nonsense here. But I'll give the example of like when I got into miniature painting. When I got into miniature painting, I kind of hated it for like a year until it clicked with me. So I feel like most creative hobbies have an initial skill barrier. And once you get over that skill barrier, then you can decide, okay, do I like this or do I not like this? Because at the start, you're kind of lost, you know? If that makes any sense. And I hope it doesn't sound like I'm talking down to you. It's like, you know, like kind of, it's just something that I realized, like, whenever I'm doing a new medium, like right now I'm trying out watercolors or I'm trying out something new, is gonna be terrible at the start, but like you kind of learn as you go, and you hit a certain point where you know the fundamentals enough to make an informed decision on whether it is for you or not. But if art at that point is something that you still do not enjoy, I would say there's no harm in just, you know, taking images from like the public domain or from artists who like put up the art for free use and just using those things, or like I said, like photo bashing. But photo bashing does require a degree of knowing composition and primarily composition actually, but yeah. Let's see. I like art, but art doesn't like me. Oh, that's a good statement. That's how I feel a lot. A lot of the time. Like, I mean, yesterday, like I just showed you all those images, right? All those images are things that I have. When I was painting them, I was like, wow, I just forgot how to paint, I guess, right? Like, and that hasn't happened to me for honestly like 2-3 years. Like yesterday when I was drawing those. To be fair, I was also physically exhausted because I had like a bunch of nightmares and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like yesterday was, and I guess the past few days I've just been really exhausted, and I've been realizing that like I've been kind of like getting worse at certain things, which is fine because that's the thing about art. It's such a broad spectrum of stuff that does require like constant practice, that if you focus too much on, say, composition, you might get worse at other areas. And that's fine because like you can go back to them pretty easily. Like I'm confident that once I do watercolors for maybe a few more days, I'll get the hang of it again. It's cool just for fun. Yeah, yeah, and that's important to remember too. At the end of the day, it is primarily just for fun. Unless you're planning to make a career out of it, which I ended up doing, and I still have a consistent personal art practice that's kept separate from my commission work. In order to not burn out and not hate doing art, I want to be able to do art for myself and for my friends, and for not for money. That's kind of the money thing is kind of why I left video games actually. But that's a topic for a separate time. Let's see. Has this dried yet? Yes, it has. Okay. All right. Time to mess it up even more. Let's see. All right. Let's just finish this off, and then I didn't really get that much done on stream today, but that's okay. I'm just getting back into it. I'm hoping I can stream more. I specifically want to start streaming my like solo RPG sessions. So I realized that recording them can feel a bit, I don't know, I just like can feel a bit like I'm putting on something of a performance, you know what I mean? Whereas when I'm like, doing a live stream like this, it does just feel like I'm hanging out with friends. Also, this paint is starting to get a bit hard to work with, so I might have to change it out soon. If the light is hitting from the bottom, then there's no reason why the nose shouldn't also be hit. So I guess if it's a rim light, that would be it. But I've also found that let me see this. YouTube keeps like kind of blocking part of the message. I've also found that what I don't think is particularly good, other people like. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like I think, to me at least, I think like art is a personal journey of finding out what your compass is. If that makes sense. I feel like when it comes down to it, once you know the fundamentals and everything, right? It's kind of like just not going through the motions per se, but like once you figure out your fundamentals, it's more of a question of what do you personally like? What do you like enjoy? You know? It's not really something that, unless you're doing a commission or something, it's not something that I think you should take other people's opinion into account. Especially not social media. I feel like it's, in that way, it's kind of like a personal journey. It's like just trying to figure out like who you are really. And I honestly haven't figured it out. So it's something that you kind of keep working at. I feel like, I don't know, like recently at least, I've been mentioning the health issues and stuff. It's guess not to go too into it, but like I've had some of the worst bouts of depression that I've ever had in my life recently. It's part of why I took a break from YouTube. Um, Part of that is kind of like alleviated by the fact that I know myself just by primarily because I've been kind of like asking myself a lot of tough questions when I'm like doing art or writing or anything, right? Like anything creative. And I find that this time, at least, the depression didn't stay for as long. It was quite intense, but it didn't stay for quite as long. When it did, when it was active, it was some of the worst depression I've ever had. But like, it went away after, you know, I don't know, like few weeks. I'm still dealing with like some of the fallout of it, but for the most part, I think that, and I'm not a doctor or anything, obviously, but like, I think like art can be kind of healing in that way. Not in the sense that most people say art is healing, more in the sense that you kind of start to understand who you are as a person and your personal values and what you kind of want to see in your work. And I think that there's some value in that, especially if you are somebody who is somewhat emotional like I am. Let's see. Depression is debilitating. Stay connected to people around you. You have someone you can talk to when that happens. Yes, I have. I've been dealing with this unfortunately for a very long time. Um, Obviously, I won't go into details because that's not appropriate for a live stream. But I've I have a therapist. I have a psychiatrist. A lot of it is psychosomatic, uh, which means that. Well, I'll say one thing in terms of the details because I think it's relevant to this. The main symptom that I get from these kind of things is the nightmares. So I get night terrors, and I get pretty intense night terrors. So I've dislocated my ankle before in a night terror. So I've like hit my. So for those of you who know, I actually I do like Muay Thai and stuff. Like I do like kickboxing. So I essentially roundhouse kicked the wall next to my bed so hard that I dislocated my ankle during like one of a particularly like bad night terror. And I don't even know how that happened because like how the hell do you do a roundhouse kick while like lying on the bed? But yeah, in any case, that happened. But like a bunch of other stuff like that happens pretty regularly when I have night terrors. I usually wake up with pretty like bad, serious physical issues. So the problem that I'm facing right now is more of a physical thing, if that makes sense, or like not primarily a physical thing. It's just like there's a physical component to it that muddies the waters a bit, which is why I've also been seeing a physiotherapist, and that helps a lot. I think a lot of people do mention this, but like the mind and the body are all like kind of connected, right? To a certain degree, at least. That's why psychosomatic symptoms and all that are so prevalent. Yeah, that is quite awful. I mean, like I've had a lot of injuries, but the dislocation was, was pretty bad. Like for example, you can see here. I don't know. Can you see that? Yeah, that's like from boxing. I basically like broke my wrist like a while back. And then there's a bunch of other injuries that I have. But a lot of the injuries, unfortunately, and I don't really say this much on like stream or whatever, a lot of them, unfortunately, are accrued while I'm sleeping, which is terrifying to say the least. So that's what I'm mostly worried about right now, like night terrors. That's what I'm trying to address, and that's why. So the reason why I bring all of this up is not really to rant. It's more to say like watercolors and like doing this kind of thing has been helping me a lot. Like I've been experiencing much less nightmares now that I've been doing this, and miniature painting and this have essentially been helping kind of like soothe my mind before bed. In addition to the tea and all that, I've literally I do like log how often this kind of stuff happens, and it's been much less after I started, like being conscientious of what I do before bed. So that's been really good for me. Let's see. I had depression, bad. I found it walking. Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, walking is incredibly important for me. The only problem is that I also have another issue, which is respiratory in nature. So I had a lung infection for quite a number of years. And to this day, around 6 to 7 p.m., and this is kind of unrelated to depression. This is like, it kind of like works in tandem with it, I guess. But after afternoon, I can't actually walk easily. Like I would literally be unable to like reach over and grab a glass of water. But before that time, I'm very active. I can like run and stuff. Which I've been doing. I've been going for running. I've been going for runs and stuff like that in the morning. But once it hits like 6 p.m. or so, like I cannot really, I can't really function. Which is really the worst part of it. That's the worst part of the entire thing. Is feels like debilitating. Is that a word? Yeah, debilitating. So that one I'm not really sure what to do about, but I've been seeing doctors for it and stuff. I've been trying to get recommendations. And yeah, it's being worked on. So it's not like I need, it's not like I'm in a very, very horrible place. It's just, like it's just tough all over, right? Like everybody has like these kind of issues, I feel like, to a degree. It's just kind of weird because I can't do those walks. Like a lot of the solutions are essentially closed off to me at a certain point. So yeah, strange. Good to hear that it's getting better. Time for a pillow fort. Yeah, no. Actually, you know what actually helped with that was moving bedrooms. So I'm currently actually sleeping not in my own room anymore because that was like next to the wall. And now I don't wake up with not to get too grotesque about it, but I don't wake up with like blood on my hands. Okay, that sounds really bad, but like it's essentially what it is, right? Like I sometimes wake up like and I have some blood, like either on me or like around me. Just kind of fucking terrifying. Honestly, it's kind of scary, but it is what it is. I'm laughing about it now, but that's only because I'm not experiencing that anymore. I don't have those issues anymore because shifted to a larger bed. That was like the solution in the end. The solution was just to shift to a larger bed. It's just funny to me. All right, this looks a lot better. I'm actually okay. Now I'm actually like almost fully happy with this. Whereas previously I was like, I'll probably like I'm not. I think previously I said something like, "This is the kind of drawing that I'll throw in the trash." Whereas now I'm actually happy with it. Like I'm genuinely, I don't know what it is about it, but like it just works. I think I just kind of like kept working at it and somehow figured out what I like in the illustration, and it just now works to me. All right, that's okay. We are almost done. I say that like we're doing a horrible procedure or something. Like, oh, we are almost done. Don't worry, it's almost over. No, I'm gonna have to grab some lunch soon, so I'm gonna finish this up. But it's very, very fun like chilling with all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm hoping I can stream more, but like I might be, like I said, I might be streaming more solo RPGs, or I might be streaming art. I'm not sure. But in any case, I find that it is it's weirdly, I don't know, it's weirdly like cathartic, therapeutic. Not therapeutic. Actually maybe therapeutic. I'm not sure the word for it. It's very it kind of helps me in a way that doesn't tire me out too much, I guess is what I'm saying. In terms of like when I'm getting stuff done. I do find that like my best work is when I'm not thinking about it. Hence what is happening right now. Like that whole time I was talking about like, you know, my sleeping issues and stuff like that. I wasn't really looking very carefully at what I was doing. I was just kind of like letting my hand flow, you know what I mean? And I think this is like the best result so far. So that kind of says something, I feel like. The white along the arms and face brought it to life. Yeah, I think so. Good hangs. Hope you have a good day. Sleep from. Yeah, do have a good rest. I think I'm gonna finish this up in about maybe like 5 more minutes, but I think we're nearing the end of this anyways. I will usually read out all of the usernames of everybody who participated in the chat. That's what I usually do. But I think there's too many people today, which is a good thing. That's very nice. Thank you so much. But I don't think I'll be reading out everybody's usernames today. But yeah, I'm hoping to do this more, and by doing more, I mean possibly once a week. I might even like schedule it, which is not something I did prior to this. But I think that since it helps, I might as well kind of like schedule it in advance, you know. I think, yeah, I am gonna work on this a little bit more off screen, but I'd say like this is 99% there. Maybe I'll do like some like touch-ups as well, digitally, which might be good, because that might actually like call attention to parts that I did not know had issues. Yeah, all right. All right, see you everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you again hopefully soon. Hopefully. But like I said, I don't want to say that and like be gone for like a month again. Never know with my bloody health issues, but yeah, hopefully soon. Goodbye.